end of November, sometime in December. The agenda for today is to kind of go over, I have seven different new features that have been brought into R2. We're going to start with kind of the overall thing, talking about navigation lists and how you can inactivate and reactivate accounts. We're going to talk about batches, and then we're going to go into the sales module and kind of look at a new smart list that they have for sales transactions, some additional sorts for your sales order item inquiry. Then we're going to jump over to purchasing, and we're going to talk about the vendor hold status, how the checkbook ID is now defaulting in, and if we have time, we'll go into the email capabilities. So I'm going to get started by jumping directly into GP. So let's look at the navigation lists. So to get to the navigation lists, I'm going to go to my sales navigation list, and I'm going to click in my left navigation bar, and I'm just going to click on customers. And you'll notice here that it brings us a list of customers. And this feature is really cool, especially if you like to go through and clean up your customers, your vendors. It goes through items and salespeople. So it hits really all of the different modules, but we're going to look at customers first. I created some customers, so these test customers down below. And to inactivate, all you have to do is just select them in your list, come up here, and you'll notice that you have an inactivate up here at the top now. So you can right click, or you can click that drop down arrow, and it will say click below to proceed, and you say inactivate. Now this is what's cool about it. You get a little warning message or message up here that tells you if it's succeeded or if it's failed. Now, one thing to remember about your inactivations is that it does go through the policies that GP puts in place. So if it has sales for the year, or if there's an open balance, it will not allow you to inactivate that account. So it does go through normal setup. So if I went up here to Berry Medical and I tried to inactivate this, it's going to tell me that it failed. And it failed on 6 because I have this Rainbow Research selected, as well as Berry Medical. And then the 4 that I selected before had just already been inactivated. But if I wanted to look at this, I could hit print, and it will give me a list of what actually happened. So let me make this a little bigger, because if you're like me, I can't see these things. I can't inactivate the 2 because the customer has transactions. So those are what I'm talking about, where it's going to go out and it's going to look and not allow you to do something that you're not supposed to do normally within the window itself. These other 4 just failed because they're already set as inactive. Now the great thing about this is that if I go back to my top and come back into my customers again, and I scroll down to my tests, you'll notice that now it has an indicator that shows you that these are inactive. So at any point in time, you can see which customers are inactive. If I wanted to reactivate these, I could select the 2, and then you'll notice that this button here activates, so that all you have to do is click your reactivate and hit reactivate. And then when I go back in, I can see those now have been reactivated. So I thought that's kind of cool. You can, it's pretty easy to do that. And again, that works with customers. It works with salespeople. So at this point in time, I can inactivate or reactivate salespeople with a click of a button. Now, one thing is that you have to actually get off of the list and come back on, or refresh at the very top to see what it is, because you're not able to inactivate it and reactivate it right away because it hasn't refreshed the screen to say that it's reactive. It needs to be reactivated. So that's the first one. Here's another thing. Now with your sales batches, any of your batches that you're able to, not that one, receivables batches. Any batches where you can do recurring transactions in. Oh, for goodness, let's get on the right one. Sales batches. Here it is. They moved these things on me. So when you set up a new batch and you use your frequency of biweekly or monthly, you'll notice that this box becomes active now and says use last day of the month. So now it will always look at what the last day of the month is and post on it. This posting date says 4/30/2027, because I'm in the test environment. When we post this, then it will update to 5/31/2027, because the 31st is the last day of the month. So that's another great feature for those that are doing recurring transactions that they want to hit at the end of a month. So the monthly one will do every month. The bi-monthly one will skip a month and do the same procedure for the next month. Let's look at the new smart lists. So there's a new smart list now for sales transactions. Called Deposits on Unposted Sales Transactions. And if you use sales order processing, what this does is for unposted sales orders that have a deposit associated with them. So if you put an amount received of, say, $30,000 on this, you were never able to see this deposit as being something that was in your smart list. Now, when we bring up our smart list, we hit refresh. We now are able to see that transaction, that there's been a deposit received against this document. These were only able to be seen once they were posted. So now you'll be able to see what you've received on stuff that doesn't have sales associated with it. So that's kind of cool. We used to, back before this, we used to have to build smart lists to get this information for you guys. So now it's nice that it's in just a default one that's in. So the next new feature is the additional sorts for the item inquiry. So sales item inquiry here. You now see this new sort by here. It used to always be that you could only sort by item number. Now you can sort by document number, document type, the date, the customer. So if you wanted to see a certain item number by customer, you can now see that. You have all this information here in your smart list or in your inquiry. And you can even print it. So you can have it sort in this window by the customer ID or whatever. you'd like. So that's kind of cool. It just gives you another way to look at things. Stop me if I'm going too fast or if you want to ask any questions. Katie's out there. Hi, Katie. She's looking for a question. So if you have a question, pop them in there and she'll let me know.
Hi.
Hi, Katie. Emailing statements from the customer maintenance window. That's the next feature. So they've added the ability to email, I think I did Adam Park, email statements. So now you have under your file, you can print your statement or you can email it right here from this window. And emailing basically brings up this email and says, hey, look, we sent it out. And I have it going to me. Let's see, did it pop up? It did. So there's my email. So this attachment gets brought in. I don't have the nice version or the nice templates of the statements, but if these were modified, it would look exactly like your statements. Ooh, the next one I really like. It's kind of like the navigation lists, but it allows a vendor to be placed on hold, and then you can see it in your inquiry windows. So I'm going to go to my vendor, and I'm going to use ACE because they're my favorite, and I'm going to put them on hold. So I put this vendor on hold. So now when you go in to your inquiries, transaction by vendor, and I bring up ACE Travel, you'll notice the stop sign on there. So it's a visual indicator that you can see that they're on hold. You can also do it by document number. So if you bring up a document, ACE Travel, and we drilled back to it, you'll notice that on the payables zooms, all of the zooms back will show that indicator also. So it's kind of cool. And I believe that in your navigation, you will also see the stop sign that says that it's on hold. So you see it in your navigations, you see it in your on your inquiry screens. Now at this point in time, you could go in and you could remove the hold from here. I have a password on mine, but I could remove that hold also from that vendor. So again, the navigation lists have become much stronger on getting things to go, to make your lives a little bit easier. And then the last thing I was going to show is how now when you create a payment batch for your checks, how this checkbook ID now defaults in. So when you create a batch and you add this batch, you have your checkbook ID that populates now from your setup window. So I changed mine to First Bank so that it would populate. And if I look at my batch, First Bank is now populating. You can change this at this point in time if you don't want it to go to that, but it will default now. Before it didn't default in. And then you can go ahead and build the batches. So other things that have been changed or added. You can email now from your purchase order entry screen. You can email POs to vendors. So again, under the view, you have your email option here, which will allow you to email the template. It brings you to this window. I don't have my template set up for my POs, so that's why it's not active. But if you chose blank or other, you can send that to the people that you want to send them to. I showed you the ability to send statements. But that's about it. And we've got about 10 minutes left for questions. Any questions, Katie?
There's none here, but go ahead and ask if we want to unmute everyone.
I can unmute everyone. Don't say anything bad, guys. How come I can't unmute? Oh, there we go.
Oh, I had to learn.
There we go. Okay, everybody's unmuted. Do you have any questions?
Well, I'll download the accounts and I'll just lob it back over there.
I think Matt's talking. So there aren't any questions. Let's see. Let's go back to our agenda. So we talked about all these, and then they're separated. Obviously, if you think of any questions that didn't get covered, or if you want more information on the new features of 2018, you can email us at support at, is it iscorp.biz?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Or you can email me directly, either one. Here's some of our next 3 upcoming webinars. We're going to go over some WS tools, creating Excel templates, and then QuickTag, quick expense with QuickTag. So those should be exciting. And that's about it. Again, here's our email and our phone number if you need us for anything, or you can email me directly. Anything else, Katie?
I think I'm good. Thanks everybody for attending. And if you want this to be replayed, we do have it on YouTube eventually in the next couple hours, so you can watch it again if you need to.
Perfect. Thanks, Katie.